Thank you, Shreya. I'm Brad, and I'll be discussing the alternative choices available for Volkswagen of America to implement an IT system, as well as the evaluation criteria needed to assess and determine the best solution for implementation. One of the underlying issues facing Volkswagen's management of IT priorities is the way in which the implementation process is carried out. As Shreya mentioned, managers at the company had a difficult job in prioritizing which projects were worthwhile during the three-phase process. To alleviate this issue, Volkswagen has two distinct choices in which they may implement an overall ERP system. The first method is to develop an enterprise-wide system using predetermined goals and measures. In this method, various projects and systems would be evaluated based upon which company goals are met, such as customer loyalty, the value of potential new vehicles, and the optimization of the company's supply flow. Projects can then be categorized depending upon which goals are fulfilled, and then grouped into goal-oriented portfolios. Those goals that are most important to the company can then be fulfilled by prioritizing funding allocated to their respective project portfolios. Conversely, Volkswagen may choose to implement an ERP system using a base-up strategy. In this method, projects would be based upon stages of implementation rather than goals, as well as categorized by their cost, specific application in the firm, and ease of implementation. IT systems such as transaction processing systems or decision support systems would be implemented first, providing a base upon which customer relationship management and enterprise resource planning systems may be built. Now, the criteria for evaluating these projects also vary greatly. With regards to goals, the enterprise system would have a ranking system for specific goals, whereas a base-up strategy would have an equitable system that tends to value each goal or department equally. The applications also vary, as an enterprise model looks at the services offered to the entire organization, as well as customer services, while a base-up strategy would look more at task or department service by various software programs. Cost is also an issue, as the enterprise-wide model pays out a flat fee around $60 million to cover all of the projects, while a base-up strategy begins to implement lower-cost infrastructure and then ramps up near the end as the costly ERP system is put in place. Finally, the types of implementation differ in that an enterprise-wide model favors a growth-oriented approach, while the base-up strategy is more stability-oriented. By using a SWOT analysis, we can better determine both the internal strengths and weaknesses of the two strategies, as well as their external opportunities and threats. To begin with, the enterprise model has the strength of being goal-oriented, which helps the company define their overall strategies to both managers and employees. However, this method is also very expensive, as it requires significant investments to implement the project as soon as possible in a company-wide plan. Externally, the enterprise model has the opportunity to be a pro-growth strategy, and it can be fiercely competitive with other car manufacturers. Also, the enterprise model has a threat of subjective forecasting due to the goals approach that determines the company's planning. Within the base-up model, the underlying internal strength is the ease to implement the IT infrastructure in stages, with simple IT systems such as TPS going in first, while the internal weakness is that more expensive projects like the ERP system aren't implemented until later. The opportunity in the external environment is stability, especially considering the risk of technology becoming obsolete. However, this also creates a threat from other competitors who are investing in IT right now rather than later. Therefore, because of the fierce external competition between car manufacturers, as well as the progress offered by incorporating an ERP system into the company as soon as possible, we suggest that Volkswagen of America implement the enterprise-wide method for IT infrastructure. That concludes my part of this project. Let me now hand it over to Bill. Bill, take it away.
Thank you, Brad. Now let's review the decision that was made and how these decisions were arrived at. First of all, let's take a quick peek at the strategic grid here. Please note that it aligned with the next round of growth as far as having the turnaround with customer loyalty and pre-owned vehicle business, the strategic goal of having new vehicle value, providing support through stable infrastructure, and improving the factory efficiency with optimized supply flow. And so Matt Ulovic's decision, he did the right things. He looked at the various projects that needed to be funded and made sure that the base enterprise IT platform was supported. So one of the critical things was that there was an unfunded supply flow project that the parent company said had to be funded. So unfortunately, he had to tell his team they need to fund it, and that left $30 million for enterprise projects and $16 million for stay-in-business projects. And that meant that a lot of the enterprise applications that were planned for and the customized point solutions that would really help out the local U.S. Marketing efforts had to wait. So these were postponed either because they didn't have funds, or in some cases because they were dependent on other projects that could not be completed in the current fiscal year. And so the idea was to keep things aligned with the parent company and keep a stable infrastructure and implement this new prioritization process. So an update on the current status. Volkswagen of America has actually been doing very well. They have recently posted internationally great success, greater than they've seen in the past. In the US, they now have 3 locations where they produce cars, and their stock is doing quite well. And as you can see, they have many models here. Let's take a closer look at that and see an example of their information technology that they've built through their website presence. Again, you can see the models. You can see a lot of things that support their next round of growth. And I'd like to take you somewhere very special here to take a peek into the future. This is their vision in the year 2028. So they have all these concept cars and things that they want to do. They want to be eco-friendly. They want to make cars safe. And they want to be able to have customized living space in the cars. So they are not slowing down. They're finding new ways to do old things.